What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Ronnie Pugs, back again with another video, a pretty special video because lately I've seen the hashtag Year of the Spider thrown around on Twitter because we're getting tons of various Spider-Man media this year, 2018, so why not rank the upcoming Spider-Man projects this year from least anticipated to most anticipated. And before I start the video, I have to say that these rankings are based off how excited I am for these projects. What I want you guys to do is, after I'm done sharing my list, is to comment down below how you would rank these projects from least anticipated to most. So here we go, guys, my rankings of this year's upcoming Spider-Man projects from least anticipated to most. I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, so to start this list off, my least anticipated Spider-Man project of this year is going to have to go to the return of Ultimate Peter Parker Spider-Man in Marvel Comics. And right now it's all but confirmed that Ultimate Peter is getting his own comics, but I wanted to include another project on this list because if I didn't, we'd have a top 4 list, and I don't know anybody that makes top 4 list. So let me start off by saying I'm not a fan of current Marvel comics. The last current Marvel comic I read had the Prowler as Spider-Man, and I honestly wasn't a big fan of it. The last modern comic run I did enjoy was the Superior Spider-Man story, but just because this is my least anticipated Spider-Man project of the year, it doesn't mean I dislike the Ultimate Comics. But back to the main point of this pick, so what just happened at the end of Spider-Man 2? The team-up event between Miles and Peter. Miles actually gets to see the Ultimate Universe, which shows Peter Parker Spider-Man of that universe alive and well, but he's actually teamed up with the Ultimates this time around, which is pretty fitting because Spider-Man's with the Avengers on screen now. So like I said before, it's all but confirmed we're getting the Ultimate Comics back. I don't think Marvel would tease something like this just to leave it at that. So if the Ultimate Comics were to make a comeback, I'd expect it to be around the time Infinity War drops, since there's going to be massive Marvel hype around that time. And again, I only picked this because I needed an extra spot on the list. It's unknown whether Ultimate Spider-Man comics are making a comeback, but if I had to put money on it, I'd say they are. So coming in at number 5, my least anticipated Spider-Man project of the year, just because I needed an extra spot on the list, the return of Ultimate Spider-Man comics. Now let's move on to number 4, where I've placed the Venom movie. This is so high up on my list because at the time of recording this video, we don't know if this movie's going to be in the MCU or not. It most likely isn't. We haven't seen any footage from this movie, we haven't gotten a poster, and we also haven't seen Venom's design for the film. If this film was taking place in the MCU, it would be higher on my list, but it most likely isn't, and the only reason I see this film being made is so Sony can make money.
We need money.
And the thing that really makes me mad about this film is that we're not going to get a proper symbiote story arc in this film because Spider-Man's not even in the movie. The whole reason the symbiote gives Eddie Brock powers is because of Spider-Man. One half of Venom's story is Spider-Man, and we're not even going to see that on film. We did get the story in Spider-Man 3, but it was just disappointing. It's nowhere on par with the 90s show or the Ultimate Spider-Man comic. Also, Aviara is attached to this film, and while he does have a few good hits as producer, I think it's time for him to move on. However, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm not excited for the film. I'm just extremely skeptical about the film. I think Sony's already done a good job by using the word "we" in their marketing campaign. The Venom of Spider-Man 3 referred to himself as "I," and that's not what Venom does. I think Tom Hardy's a good casting choice. I enjoyed his role as Bane, and I'm definitely looking forward to see what he can bring to Venom. Also, I've heard this movie's supposed to be rated R, and the main villain is Carnage, and just imagine what the studio can do with an R-rated Carnage. I'm really looking forward to seeing that on screen. So at number 4, I have the Venom movie releasing October 2018. I am excited for this film, however, I'm going into it extremely cautious. Maybe the trailer will change my views, and with that, we move on to number 3, and as Spider-Man first, we have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This is a Spider-Man first on so many ways. This will be the first animated Spider-Man film in theaters, the first movie starring Miles Morales, and the first movie to feature multiple Spider-Men. I rank this above the Venom movie because it doesn't bother me that much that Sony's making this movie. It's animated, so it differentiates itself from the live-action films, and it looks like Sony's following the comics pretty closely with this movie, showing Peter Parker's grave and featuring Miles' as main villain, the Prowler. I'll admit, when I first heard that Sony was making an animated Spider-Man film, I wasn't that excited. It was kinda like it's whatever, but after I saw the trailer and that the movie is subtitled Into the Spider-Verse, my hype levels increased dramatically. Shattered Dimensions is one of my favorite Spider-Man games. It introduced me to some of my favorite Spider-Man characters, Spider-Man Noir and 2099, so now we have a chance to see both of them on film. And who knows, maybe we'll see cameos from the live-action movie Spider-Man, which I might talk about in another video. I've already talked about the trailer in another video, so I won't get into that. But at number 3 of my most anticipated Spider-Man projects of 2018, I have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now let's move on to number 2. Okay guys, so coming in at number 2, which is probably going to be my most controversial pick, I have Insomniac's Marvel's Spider-Man, more commonly referred to as Spider-Man PS4. Just like the Vena movie, I was cautious when this was first announced. The biggest problem I had with it is that it's a PS4 exclusive and I don't own a PS4, so I was just going to skip out on this one. Also, I was getting mixed feelings about the Spider-Man suit in this game. However, I eventually bought into the hype through watching other Spider-Man YouTubers talk about this game, and my hype levels really hit the roof after watching the Paris Games Week trailer. Even the Spider-Man suit became one of my favorites. It's about time we get a good Spider-Man game. The last really good Spider-Man game in my opinion was Shattered Dimensions, but the problem with that game is that there was no free roaming. Hopefully this game delivers. I know Insomniac's already interacted with the community about this game, and that gives me even more hope that they'll deliver.
Pizza time.
It also looks like we'll be able to free roam in this game, and it's been a long ass time since we got a really good free roaming Spider-Man game. Also, another great thing about this game is that it's grown the Spider-Man community on YouTube so much, and the game's not even out yet. I know Evan Falarka and a few other YouTubers have done their videos about this game, and I think it's great to see other people share their thoughts and opinions about this game, including myself. I'm hoping this game exceeds everyone's expectations, and I'll be buying a PS4 first day this game comes out, and hopefully we'll get an exclusive Spider-Man bundle. Also, if anyone at Insomniac is watching this video, hook your boy up with one of those red shirts you guys wear. I wear a medium, just hit me up, my Twitter is in the description below. So with Spider-Man PS4 coming in at number 2, let's move on to number 1, my most anticipated Spider-Man project of 2018, and you guys already know what it is Avengers Infinity War. Now the reason I rank this above Spider-Man PS4 is because we've seen Spider-Man games in the past, and this movie also doesn't require $400 for me to enjoy it. And you could argue that this isn't a Spider-Man project, just like the return of the Ultimate Comics, but Spider-Man is in this movie. He's playing a part of the story, even if it is a minor role. I put this movie at number 1 because this is going to be the product of years of universe building from Marvel. This is the big event that all these films have been leading up to since the first post-credit scene of Avengers 1, and it's potentially the biggest comic book movie in history. Marvel has had a few bumps in the road to Infinity War, but I have no doubt in my mind that this film is going to be one of the best comic book movies ever made. And back to the Spider-Man aspect of this movie, this is also my most anticipated Spider-Man project of the year, because if you go back a few years, no one would have thought this would happen, and recently we got hit with the news that the Fantastic Four and the X-Men are coming to the MCU. That's insane. We finally have the perfect iteration of Spider-Man on screen. Tom Holland does a good job at both Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and now Spider-Man, my favorite superhero, is going to be a part of one of the biggest comic book films in history. I'm looking forward to everything I listed in this video, but Infinity War takes the crown as my most anticipated Spider-Man project of 2018. Again, comment down below your list because I'd love to read it. Also, I recently passed 50 subscribers, which is halfway to my first milestone. Thanks to everyone that supported me so far. I know it's not a huge number compared to other YouTubers, but it's still crazy to know that there's more than 50 people around the world that care what I have to say and look forward to watching my videos. So thanks to everyone who supported me so far, I really appreciate it. Also, I want to give a shout out to Kings Gaming on YouTube. He recently shouted me out in one of his videos. I really appreciate it. I want you guys to go and check out some of his videos. And he also pointed out to me that we can now vote for Spider-Man Web of Shadows to be backwards compatible or remastered. I'm going to link his video on the subject down below. So thank you to Kings Gaming and everyone who's discovered my videos through him. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys again in my next video.